Hi, hello, and welcome to Cinema Express. My name is Ram Venkat Srikar. Today we have with us actor Rasika Dugal to talk about the second season of her upcoming show Daily Crime and hopefully much more. Hello, Rasika. Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. I'm great. So, Rasika, my first question would be: what was your first reaction when you read the first season of Daily Crime?
I remember when I read the first season of Delhi Crime, I felt after a long time, 100% sure after I read the script that I wanted to be a part of this project. And that isn't very often. Very often when you read a script, you feel ki, there are some things which are working, some things that are not, and you sort of try and understand, what is more important. You have conversations with people you're going to collaborate with, and Daily Crime was the first one when I read, and I said, this is going to be a very good show. It was so well researched, it was so well written, it was so sensitively written. There was absolutely no doubt in my mind that this was a story that would be told well.
And what was your reaction when you read the second season? Because first season is obviously has set the benchmark pretty high, right? So I'm sure you must have even your expectations of the second season must have been pretty high. So what was the reaction when you read the second season?
The second season is very, very different, I have to say. It is, and in a different way. There's no. I mean, I can't compare between the two seasons because I'm too much a part of it. But season 2 is more a crime drama thriller. It's that kind of a show. But I was happy to see how they had sort of retained the basic quality of the characters that had been established in season 1 and then taken them to a new place, so that as actors we were sort of familiar with the characters we had played, but also we had an opportunity to sort of map a growth or a transformation for them because the script allowed us to. And also I think what season 1 did and season 2 also does very effectively is make you privy to the life of a police officer and how there is a thriving sense of humor even in very urgent and desperate situations, how there are vulnerabilities even when there's a front of being completely sure. So you see all of that, and that has always been the strength, I think, of the show, and that is something that I take away from the show every time I work on every season, because it makes me more privy to the life of a police officer. Because I had shadowed a police officer in season 1 and I did so again in season 2, and I spent considerable time with her this time, and funnily enough, she's in the same position that Nitishs is promoted to in season 2. So that was very nice. I'm just getting to learn a lot about the world we live in while working on Delhi Crime, really.
Lovely. So something that you just said, I found it quite interesting. You are now more familiar with Nitishs, right? You know how she reacts, how she reacts in particular situations, how she handles certain very serious situations that she has put in. Now you're pretty familiar with it. How do you take this character forward? Does it become easier for you to pitch the character, or does it become more challenging? How does that work?
I think easier if I have to pick between the two. It's challenging in the sense that it's almost like visiting a really old friend. So you meet somebody who you knew very well in school. And so you kind of remember what you feel about them basically, but they're a new person because some things have happened to them which have transformed them. And revisiting a character in a subsequent season is sort of similar to that experience, where you know the grain of the character, but you don't exactly know how they're going to respond to every event. Who knows that anyway? I mean, I don't know that about myself. Like, I'm very friendly right now, but I might be really angry in the next moment. And all of us react in very different ways during any given day, so
Mm.
it's not that I know how a character is going to respond to things, not at all. And characters don't respond according to type, they respond according to situation, right?
Right. Yeah.
They respond because of what has happened before and what has happened after and what is happening at that given moment.
Mm.
So uh, so yeah, so it's like, and also I feel like uh, if I felt that there was something that I could have introduced in season one and I didn't for
Mm.
some reason, then here's an opportunity to do it again.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I find that interesting. And also, I find
Mm.
it very interesting to see how writers have taken a character further. I think
Mm.
that actually, for me, I feel that it's not a challenging experience for me, but it's a challenging experience for the writer. So I actually uh, uh, have all my nervousness reserved for the writer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I hope they do a good job, because if they do, I know that my job is very easy, and then my job is just to sort of, you know, uh,
Mm.
be even more comfortable and make that character look a little more lived in than it was in season one.
Super. Now that you spoke about the writers, you have owned this character, right? You have embodied this character in the first season. So when it comes to the second season, do you sit with the writers and discuss why is she behaving this way? Why is she? This is not Niti. This is not her. Like, have there been instances like that where you are like, okay, I know Niti. I too know Niti. Not just you. Have there been instances like that?
I don't function like that. Honestly, I feel like
Okay.
I just said, I feel that characters can behave very differently.
Hmm.
It's not that they will behave in a particular way just because we've understood them to have certain character traits.
Right.
People are very unpredictable, and therefore characters are unpredictable. And the beauty is that they are unpredictable, that they do
Hmm.
things that you didn't expect them to do. You know,
Hmm.
so I will never have a question for the writer, as I will never say to a writer that Niti Singh will not do this. No, I
Okay.
will
Okay.
probably ask, why do you think she's doing this? You know,
Hmm.
so to be able to
Right.
understand where this thought is coming from, I will never say that this character
Hmm.
will not do this. I don't believe in it. I believe
Hmm.
that any human
Okay.
being can respond in any way to any situation, and the people surprise you all the time. You surprise yourself all the time, and so the characters should be able to surprise you within a given story.
Okay. So I only watched the first episode of the show. Were you surprised by any directions that Niti's character took in this show, the second season? I'm just curious.
I do,
Okay.
in two different ways.
Hmm.
Sometimes I've watched the show once now,
Hmm.
and there's a personal track that Niti has through the show, which I feel very
Right.
connected to. I feel that
Right.
that track was very lovely to explore as an actor,
Hmm.
especially because I had a lovely co-actor like Akash Dahiya, who was
Yeah.
very, very good very interesting actor to play off.
Hmm.
And we tried to graph Niti and Devinder's scenes through the show together, and you'll see many more of those as you
Okay.
see subsequent episodes. And I think this
Hmm.
season, a lot of this season for Niti is about trying to navigate her personal and professional life, and it's
Hmm.
unfortunately something that women in our country are asked to do all the time, and
Hmm.
it's very heart wrenching. And I've seen
Hmm.
that, all of us have seen that around us growing up, and we continue to see it and to experience it every day of our lives. And I think that is something that I felt very like I wanted to tell this story for this reason also. But
Wow.
also as an actor, I really enjoyed working on those scenes. And some of how she has responded in the early scenes as well as the latter scenes in that track have surprised me a little bit. Like, I hadn't graphed it like that in my head. It was things that
Okay.
Akash and I, instinctively responded to. And
Hmm.
it was something that we sort of improvised with Tanuj and the writers along the way. And I think
Hmm.
it's worked. There is an honesty to the moment in those scenes. And I hope that resonates with an audience.
Okay, lovely. Can't wait to watch those episodes. Now,
I'd love to
Rasika,
know what you think about this relationship through the seasons after you watch it.
Definitely, definitely. I found the very first scene where she's like, where Devendra offers her to drop her at the crime scene. I felt again, like you said, Delhi crime is always about humanizing these cops, right? So that's also my favorite part of the show, and I think through characters, the writers always find different ways to underline that facet of these characters. So yeah, I liked that aspect in the first episode.
But
Let me
also,
thought
there's a
was
very
fun.
beautiful line in that scene, which is sort of the crux of their relationship in this season, where he says कि मेरी बीवी मुझे छोड़ के जा रही है, and she says छोड़ के नहीं, काम पे जा रही है.
काम पे जा रही है. Yeah.
So,
Wow. So now, Rasika, you have like I said, two iconic characters, right? You know what those characters are.
have they told you to not mention?
No,
Okay.
one is Beena and the other is Niti. So when you're offered a role and when you play a different, when you're playing a different character, is there an apprehension that people might eventually compare your character or you to these two characters at the end of the day? Is that something that runs in the back of your head?
No, I believe that every story is different and every character is different, and I believe in my ability to do it differently and to take out to tell the story like it's meant to be and like it's intended to be told by the director and the writer. So the idea is not there's no fear of sameness. At the same time, there is no conscious effort for difference either, because I feel that difference is inherent anyway, and if I'm just sort of trying to be true to the story and trying to really be that person, then it will not be like the other roles that I've done.
Right.
So I don't think there is a fear in my mind about that, but maybe that's because maybe as I do more and more work, maybe that will creep in.
Okay.
Maybe. So maybe when we have this interview a year or two later again, I'll have something different to say about that.
Superb. See, Delhi crime it's a pretty hard show, right? The characters are in very difficult, morbid situations. Was it emotionally drenching for you at any point?
Season 1 definitely was, and season 2 also in different ways, and you want it to affect you emotionally. You don't want to be on a project which doesn't stir you in any way.
I got my headline. Yeah. Yeah.
What is it? Tell me.
I want to do projects that emotionally affect me.
Yeah. Even as an actor, that's your desire. That's why you're here. So.
How do you prep these difficult scenes? Like, I'm sure you must be having a preparation routine for other scenes, but if there is a difficult scene that you have, do you like approach it differently?
Yes. I do. Depends on what kind of a scene it is. So most shows I have, like the last 2-3 scenes of your character or close to a climax or whatever is always difficult because it is a very heightened moment, and it's very difficult to imagine how somebody would respond to certain events at that heightened moment. I am not able to graph it earlier. I'm not able to ever understand it earlier. But I trust myself enough to just learn my lines really well and to remember what transpired before in the story, even if we haven't shot those scenes, because very often you're shooting that heightened moment in the first schedule. So I kind of make sure that I know the world well enough and know what's transpired in that world, and I learn my lines really well, and I go to set and I expect magic to happen. Sometimes I'm rewarded, sometimes I'm disappointed. The times that I'm disappointed are hard, I have to tell you. I come back home and make copious notes about how it could have gone and how I wish this had worked out and not, and all of that. But for that one time that magic happens, all of this is worth it.
Superb. So now, Rasika, one great thing that OTT has done is that even you had said this in an interview a couple of years that no good actor is sitting at home right now. Everybody has work, and you are someone who has you know accentuated to a level where people are writing parts for you, right? So how does that feel? Is there a sense of achievement? Is there a sense of pride? How is that?
I think I'll correct that statement that I made a few years later to say there's no actor who is sitting at home these days. Earlier,
Right.
I'd say there's no good actor, but I don't think there's any actor sitting at home these days because there's so much work happening. But there's the good and the bad also happening. So there's a lot of clutter as well, and one has to sort of, sort of see things. But sorry, what was the second part of your question? I've forgotten.
Yeah, people are writing roles for you, right?
Yeah.
Is there a sense of achievement?
There are days when I feel very proud of the quality of work I've had, and I genuinely feel very, very lucky to have had the opportunity to collaborate with the directors and co-actors that I have worked with already. But am I in a space where I feel completely secure? No. I mean, I don't think that's possible, right? I mean, there'll always be something more that you aspire to. And and situations around you won't always sort of pander to your aspirations, you know. So you have to wait for things that you want at a particular time. And I think I've learned that in every situation, there will always be something that you desire which is kind of unfulfilled, and you kind of learn how to manage your way through that. So there are times where I feel that I'm not getting the kind of scripts that that my heart truly desires at this point. But then there are times that there are times that when I've wished this enough for like 3 months, those things miraculously happen, you know.
Okay.
So I think I just have to want it really badly, and it kind of, the universe conspires, because I think I've always wanted to, for example, be a part of a sports drama series, because I have watched sports a sports drama film or series, because I always feel it's a very interesting genre. I am the kind of person who watched sports dramas, like I have howled through them, because it's always an underdog story, right? It's about somebody who wanted to do something, and effort and hard work made them get there. You know, it's that story that every middle class person like me wants to hear. So I've always enjoyed that a lot, and it's connected with me a lot. And I got an opportunity to do a sports drama series recently, and I learned how to play volleyball for that.
Wow.
So yeah, I always feel that if you as an artist really want something, you'll have to probably wait, but it'll happen. The waiting time is hard, but I think these days I'm probably better at managing it than I was earlier.
Superb. All the best, Rasika. I have looking forward to everything that you have on your plate. Thank you very much for your time. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. Bye.